Yo, what is going on, Revo Students YouTube? My name is Michael. I'm one of the student ministry pastors here with Revo. And look, man, we are getting right into a brand new, first time YouTube exclusive teaching series called Stories. Now, to kick things off, let me tell you a story. This is a story of possibly the greatest or the worst, depending on how you look at it, accidental prank I have ever pulled. And in order to tell you this story, we need to rewind back to middle school Michael. That's right, Michael in the 7th grade. And I was at lunch one day, and I'm not gonna name my friend, but if he's watching and you hear this, I feel like I have a debt to repay you, so we can talk. But we're at the lunch table, and you know how sometimes at school, you go through the lunch line and you grab your milk, but sometimes the milk has already been opened or there's like a tear in it. And that was the case this day. So I had chocolate milk and I didn't drink it because it had already kind of been opened. And so I just kind of closed the carton back up. And when my buddy got up to go throw his trash away, I thought for whatever reason it would be hilarious to put this carton of milk in his backpack. And so I'm looking at his backpack, and he had this random pocket on the side of his backpack that was like perfect. It was like milk carton sized. And so I zip open the pocket and I slide this milk carton in and I close it back up before he comes back and sees me. And I'm sitting at my table and he sits down and he's like, what's going on? I'm trying to keep a straight face, right? And so we go back to class and I figured, hey, you know what? I'm going to tell him at the end of the day that I left a surprise for him in his backpack. But what do middle schoolers do? We often forget. And this was a Friday. Oof. So I forgot. And as I'm going home, I was like, all right, you know what? I'll tell him on Monday what I did. It's no big deal. It'll be funny, whatever. The problem was this was a 3-day weekend. And like middle schoolers, again, during 3-day weekends, we're not always the best at remembering what happened the week before. We forget to do our homework. We forget what happened. And we just get caught up in the fun of the weekend. And so that must have happened to me because I get back to school on Tuesday and I just go through with life. I see my buddy. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? We just kind of keep doing our thing. I totally forget about the milk carton. Well, fast forward about a month and a half later. My friend comes up to school that day and he comes right up to me and he's like, Michael, I know it was you. And I'm like, whoa, dude, like, hold up. It's early in the morning. What is going on? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I know you're the one who put the milk carton in my backpack. And then I just, you know, when you get real small, I just sunk. And I was like, no. Dude, I totally forgot, man. I'm so sorry. And as I'm apologizing, he like cuts me off. He's like, dude, like you don't even understand what has been happening. He's like, my family and I have not been able to figure out what this smell was. We washed my mom's car on the inside. We cleaned my dad's car on the inside. We cleaned our entire house. We had a company professionally clean our staircase. He said, and then we figured out where the smell was coming from. It wasn't the car. It wasn't the house. It wasn't the staircase where I would always put my backpack after school. He said, man, it was my backpack. He said, I know it was you. So why am I telling you that? Well, actually, spoiler alert, the meaning of that story has nothing to do with this video. But here's the deal. You listened, didn't you? You wanted to know what happened at the end, didn't you? See, here's the deal. We all love stories. Our favorite shows and movies and books and podcasts and songs and social media accounts all have one thing in common. They keep us coming back for more because they have a great, captivating story that we want to hear. The Super Bowl is coming up in just a few days. Now, most of you watching this video don't even care about the Super Bowl. But the reason the Super Bowl year in and year out is one of the most televised events on TV is simply because it's all about the story. Right? What are some of the storylines this year? Brock Purdy, the rookie quarterback, or I guess not rookie, sophomore quarterback for the 49ers, was the last pick in the NFL draft a couple of years ago. He has a chance to make history by winning the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is chasing Tom Brady in his greatness. Will he be the greatest of all time? If he wins, he'll certainly have a good argument. But what some of you are familiar with is the other storylines, right? Travis Kelce dating Taylor Swift. That's a huge storyline. We want to see Taylor. We want to see how many times she's shown on screen. We have TikTok sensation Anna Fry, who is like Brock Purdy lookalike, is going to be at the Super Bowl. There are so many storylines and things within the game that lead to all the viewership and all of the people wanting to tune in because we love stories. Students, what if I was to tell you this? What if I was to tell you that each of us have a story? Each of us have different experiences in our lives, different backgrounds, different things that have happened to us and molded the way that we think and believe, the way that we act, the way that our lives have looked. And what's beautiful is that God oftentimes can come into our lives and he can transform us. We all have a story to tell. And one of our big themes this year as a student ministry has been to make heaven crowded. A central theme in Christianity is to simply just spread the good news of Jesus Christ to as many people as possible. Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 and 20 says this. It says, "Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything that I have commanded you." And so we know what we need to do oftentimes. Like if I was to ask you, hey, are you supposed to be telling your friends about Jesus? Are you supposed to be sharing Jesus with your family members? Are you supposed to be sharing Jesus with your teammates and with your neighbors? Yeah, like of course we are, right? We know that. But sometimes what we lack is the method. We don't always know how. When we talk about making heaven crowded, we don't always know the best way to start. Well, I believe that this series is going to show you that sometimes simply just sharing your story is a great way to begin gospel conversations. By sharing what God has done in your life is a great way to show others that the same thing can happen to them. And so as you listen to this YouTube series, as you listen to your volunteer leaders, your student pastors, and even some of your friends share stories of how God has changed their life, we hope that it will inspire you to share your story and discover your story so that you can be a light to people around you. Man, I can't wait for this series to get underway. I can't wait for us to start hearing and being inspired and getting fired up about these stories of life change. So tune in this coming Monday at 7 p.m. for week number 1 of our series called What's Your Story? Go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified of when we upload next. I can't wait to see you next time. Let's explore stories of life change together. See you guys.